Thanks for coming out and watching the oxymoronic Reddit Professional Show, where I showcase the best and worst of the internet. Here I comment on brilliant and hilarious comment chains regarding dumb shit on the internet for you to enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button so that you get notifications every time we come up with a new video. Enjoy this week's show.
Life pro tip: before you buy a house, get an insurance quote. It'll tell you crime rates, flood/fire risk, type of neighborhood claims, and more. It's not perfect, but it's a start. My city was busted for it, so I'm sure most cities do this, but my city was exposed for not reporting crimes in rich and nice areas to keep the crime rate down so rich people wouldn't be afraid to lock or visit the area. I don't even live in a nice area, and it said there were no crimes reported in the last 6 months when in fact the police are always out responding to drug and alcohol-related calls. I rent in a very affluent town. I was in court for a parking ticket I was fighting. For context, one of the cases was a 17-year-old speeding in her mom's Porsche in a school zone. For every single speeding ticket, the judge reduced it to something less offensive and no points. The thing is, 90% of the cases there were for speeding. We're not a big town, so speeding is especially dangerous as it's mostly residential and a lot of kids playing outside/on bikes. But in the eyes of all these metrics, we do not have a speeding problem. Also, I bet all those people will just continue speeding. BC, all they got was $25 ticket and no points. I know it has nothing to do with what you were saying, but your story reminded me of this. It's crazy what towns do just to make their town look better on a couple sheets of paper. They used to do the same thing in my city too with the speeding tickets. They reduced it to a malfunctioning equipment ticket, basically saying your speedometer was inaccurate, and you got no points and paid a small fine. Some legislator got pissed off when he found out about it and blocked it. AKA he probably got hit by a person speeding, or people were speeding in his neighborhood, so he wanted to make sure people got punished for it. In some areas, Creamymappingcom is a great resource. If your area is listed, you can set the time frame to look at the last 6 months. Also great for house hunting because you can choose a neighborhood with fewer crimes by looking at the map and number of icons. Unique life pro tip: use Creamymappingcom to find areas and neighborhoods to rob that haven't been recently hit. Do that and then put in a bid for the property once the price has come down. That's the LPT I was looking for. Murder several times in your target neighborhood before bidding on a home. You'll be surprised how much you can save. You'll get free housing for life. I live in southern Georgia in a tourist-type area. Relatively small, the county has about 80,000 people. But speeding tickets are a major source of income here, so they make sure people get fined and pay those suckers. Unless their dad is a cop. I have a friend who at 17 was speeding so fast she should have gotten her license revoked for like half a year. But the cop who pulled her over looked at her name on her license and let her go. I'm not sure if it was out of respect or fear of her father. If her father is worth his salt, then hopefully the cop let him know what she did and how he gave her a break, and he'll punish her more than what the state will do. It was a couple years ago. I don't think that happened. I'm not actually sure he found out about it. That, or she may have had to write an apology letter to someone. It didn't help. She should have had her license revoked. She was not responsible enough to be driving at 17. She's 20 and I barely like her driving now. If you're trying to find out about crime, I'd recommend using your car insurance instead. Since you already know what you pay for car insurance, getting a quote for a new address will let you know if it's a safer area or not by the change in a bill you already are familiar with. I'd recommend using your car insurance instead. Ah yes, I totally forgot it. Unfortunately not true, crime is a part of your car insurance, but the difference in premium due to address changes could be shitty intersections more likely to have an accident and many other traffic factors. I'm sure it goes up also if it's only street parking and if lots of trees in the area. There are quite a few neighborhoods in my city that have really nice houses, but they are so close together that only street parking is available. I'm sure the people living there can afford nice cars, but they all have old cars because the insurance rates are probably high due to the increased risk of getting hit. Also, as an aside, every insurance quotes I got included questions about dogs, but not cats, swimming pools, and trampolines. So those things will increase your insurance rates. LPT, buy a house and insurance before getting the dog. Sorry to be negative, but that's not true. An insurance quote won't tell you crime rates, claims that other people in the neighborhood have filed, or fire risk. One accurate point in this LPT is that you can get a flood quote to determine what flood zone you're in. Also, a home quote will tell you what kind of claims have been filed on that particular home in the past 5 years. Insurance agent here can confirm. None of the quotes I've run have ever come up with the crime rates or any of this other stuff. You need to check with FEMA for your flood zone. Correct. Crime and claim statistics for the area/zip code/etc. will be ran in the background as part of the calculations, but you won't be able to get a nice list or anything concrete. The closest you could manage would be getting quotes for 2 or more homes, of comparable build and subsequent coverage, and comparing those two. Also, your individual credit-based insurance score may also be a large factor and is one people will often overlook. Another insurance agent here: glad I saw you and some others in your replies calling this out as untrue, because for a little bit there I was thinking, wait, the applicant versions of my quotes never show any of that stuff. What am I doing wrong? The Clue report will show a claim history on the home, sure, but that's about it, and those don't come included in any of the quotes I do. I'm a direct agent for Mercury, Hartford, and Safeco here in California. I'd have to run a Clue separate and send to them with quote in order to show any of that stuff. I looked all that stuff up before deciding where to look. In the market I was buying, if you found something you liked and waited for an insurance quote before putting in an offer, you would lose it. Insurance quotes don't take very long to get though. Like one day. Last house I looked at had 4 offers before close of business the day it was listed. There are some highly sought after areas in my city, so when a house in that area goes up for sale they get sold for way over asking price in under 48 hours, sometimes less than 24 hours. I hear you, but I literally put in an offer the day that my house went on sale, and I wasn't the first one. The market where I live is crazy. Anything affordable gets sold almost immediately. I can't imagine that. I live in an area where houses usually spend 1 to 2 months on the market and people won't sell to very much below their insane asking price. Our market here went up over 20% in the 2 years before I bought a house. For some perspective, in the same area, my friend in 2013 bought a 4-bed 3-story 2,600 sq ft house for under $300K. It was somewhat a fixer-upper, nothing crazy, just floors redone, painting, some redoing of trims and such. My house in a similar condition in 2016 was going for about $350K, but it has 1,100 square feet and 2 beds 1 bath. Ha ha ha. I've gotta laugh because otherwise I'd cry. Houses here go up 20% a year and median price is $1 million, AUD. Sorry, I meant 20% a year, haha. I'm here crying with you, but also $1 million. Not in my neighborhood, but neighboring towns have some median prices near that range, but $908,000K US. My comment is gonna be way down here, but this is called a municipal search. I do this for a living. And title searches, basically it's police records, fire marshal/underground storage tank, oil/propane tank, removal, building/ENG departments, see if open permits are still on file. Health code violations, did the septic tank ever overflow into the basement? Inland wetlands, i.e. so if you want to build pool, you won't kill the frogs or ducks in the process. Probate/family court, to see if any former homeowners had liens against them that haven't been released before you buy. Public works, is the street your new house on public or private? Big deal if you live in a snow state. Board of Education, what schools are in your area / will your child be sent across town for some idiotic reason? I work in insurance. A home quote will not tell you crime rate or types of neighborhood claims, and any mortgage lender you're working with should have told you weeks ago if you're in a flood zone. The lending company will require flood insurance if they deem it's a risk. There are tons of things that go into a rate, but this simply isn't a good pro tip. Generally you should get a quote well before you buy a house, but for budgeting reasons, not to see the crime rates and types of claims in the area. Depends on the country, isn't it? In my country most of people rarely check up with insurance company when they are buying an apartment. Most of people go through brokers who don't care about those things. Plus recently I got into an incident something similar when trying to resell an property which I owned. Fair enough, I guess I was restricting my answer to just the US, good. Don't listen to this advice op. Car insurance rates also depend heavily on traffic flow around your house and work, and whether or not you have a private driveway/garage. For example, on Long Island, my car insurance was $250, the most basic. I lived next to the train tracks and in a druggy area, unsafe to walk alone at night. I moved back to New York, to a really nice neighborhood in the boroughs, and my insurance is now $600 for the most basic. I can come home at 3 a.m. drunk and not worry about anything. Never buy a home in a FEMA-designated 100-year or sooner flood zone. If you do buy a home in one of those areas, here is your risk. If it is in a 100-year zone or lower, it means you will see significant flooding. You may not see the 100-year flood stage, but to even be included in that area, watershed modeling must show your home would be inundated/destroyed. Oh, and here is the part that really hurts. If you are in that zone, it is a separate flood insurance policy. This is typically hidden by the sellers and the real estate agents. It is only until you see your first mortgage payment increase by 30% that you realize that this policy, separate from your homeowner's flood insurance policy, doesn't cover anything in the case of a major flood event. The only people it covers is the federal government. Again, an extra 20 to 30% added to your monthly mortgage payments. A federal policy that by law you must pay. A flood insurance policy that doesn't cover your home after it has been destroyed by a flood. Well, it covers the US government, not you. So yeah, pull out those confusing FEMA flood zone maps or call FEMA's Loma team for more info before even thinking of purchasing that home.
If you enjoyed this week's effective way to waste time, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you are enjoying the series, leave me a comment below. A special shout out to the content creators. You frickin' rock.